we have these kits, this little like interview kit I got. I also have a list of like I think I have 20 questions I put together that are just off the top of my head.
Okay.
And then I have this little box here too. So they're sectioned off into early life, midlife, and later life and reflection.
Okay.
So if you're able to start with early life and go through, pick out a couple. If there's any of the ones you don't want to talk to or talk about, we don't have to talk about them.
Okay.
Um, and ask follow-up questions. I just pick your brain, get information out.
Okay. Sounds good.
Um, so how did you get your name?
So my mom's dad was named Peter, and my dad's dad was named Joseph. That's where I got Peter Joseph from.
We won't go through all 150 of them.
Yeah, it's a
Pick out
lot.
some good ones. What were your parents like?
Wonderful.
Anything?
I mean, just fortunate I had such great parents.
Mhm.
Caring, loving, just good parents.
Do you remember how they met?
I do not.
Oh,
And I don't recall if they did tell me. I don't remember what it was.
okay.
Yeah,
I'll ask my dad to see if
he knows.
he knows.
And it was
Maybe Pat knows.
yeah, yeah. Good luck there.
What were your grandparents like?
So both grandfathers were dead before I was born, and both grandmothers were quite a bit older. Grandma Sharp wasn't in the best of health, and we just didn't see the Mazak side of the family much, so didn't spend much time with our grandparents.
Okay. What are some of your earliest memories?
I think the earliest ones we go to Lake Erie. Me, Pat, Mom and Dad, Sharon, Sandy, Aunt Dot, Aunt Emma, Uncle Ike would go. Sharon and Sandy would bring friends. We'd have 4 or 5 cottages in a row together at the same place every year, and then go to Lake Erie. So that's probably my earliest, fondest memories.
What were your siblings like when you were young?
So Pat's my twin, and we're actually pretty close growing up. We did a lot together. Same interests, same friends. So we were constantly together. And then there's a 9-year difference between Joe and I. And then he ended up, because I had the bigger bedroom, stayed with me, and then we just became close and walked him to school. And Joe and I, as I got older, and Pat and I kind of went our own ways, Joe and I had similar interests compared to Pat and I.
Do you have a story or memory that comes to mind when you're thinking of your brothers whenever you were young? Summer, you guys were all together, something.
Well, the big thing with Joe was the age difference was there. By the time he was able to do stuff with us, we were already grown up. So we didn't do a whole lot with Joe. We'd take him skiing, once a year. Pat and I had cabins up there, but most of it was, Pat and I were just ran around quite a bit together. From going to camp with Uncle Ike and Aunt Ann, riding dirt bikes with Tom and Randy. Pat and I did a lot together. A lot more than we do now.
Yeah. How did your family spend time together when you were young?
We always had picnics at the farm, and then Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. Besides the mom and dad and the brothers, Sharon, Sandy, and Dot, we always had family dinners together.
Okay, nice.
So we're pretty close.
How often did you guys have the picnics at the farm whenever you were young?
At least 3 times a year for the major holidays, and sometimes we just have an extra picnic just for whatever reason. Someone's birthday, or just go down and have a picnic.
Okay.
So quite a few times a year.
Did your family have any holiday traditions?
Other than being together, no, not really. No, I know Aunt Dot would light a bayberry candle out for Christmas Eve. We always did do candlelight service together, and I would put coins out for New Year's Eve. She was just more into that than my dad was.
Okay.
My mom and dad didn't really have traditions like that.
Just family time, spending
Yeah.
time together was the tradition. Um, did you have any members of the extended family that you were especially close to growing up?
I mean, we were really close with the cousins, even though they were all older than us. We spent a lot of time
Mhm.
with Sharon and Sandy. They did a lot with us, and then Pat and I rode dirt bikes with Randy a lot from like 14, 13, 14, 15, 16, or not 16, 13, 14, 15. We rode dirt bikes all the time together down the
Okay.
farm.
What was the happiest memory from your childhood?
Happiest memory. Probably buying my first dirt bike, but a YZ80 when I was 14, paid cash for it. I think that was probably the proudest, happiest at the time. That was a
Save up
big,
for it.
yeah, it was a
Cutting
big
back
deal.
when
We
you
were
saw
really
it.
into dirt bikes at the time,
Mhm.
so it was pretty awesome to have uh, an actual motocross bike.
Yeah. How were
So,
you? How did you like work to save up money for that?
cut grass, shovel snow, clean out people's garage, pass papers,
Mhm.
odd and end
Anything you can do?
jobs.
Yeah.
Whatever it took to make a couple bucks.
Yeah. Mm. Who were your childhood friends?
Um, so I mean, they actually still are. Scott Baird, Tom DeBovey, Tom McCracken, Paul Schlava. We still hang out together. And Scott, I met in elementary school. Tom and Paul, I met in Little League, and then Tom McCracken was Randy's best friend. So I've known him since I was 10 or 12 years old as well.
What were your favorite childhood games or toys besides the dirt bike?
Hmm. No, I mean, we didn't play a lot of games. I mean, we would play, football up the field and baseball and stuff like that, like outdoor stuff, ride bicycles,
Yeah.
rode bicycles a lot. But I didn't really play much games.
I think those sports counts.
Yeah, that's what I'd consider.
Okay. What kind of movies, music, and books did you enjoy as
Very little reading.
a
So there
kid?
wasn't any books.
Not much has changed.
Nothing's changed. Um, War movies, I watched that with my dad. James Bond movies, watched that with my dad. Those are big deals to watch those shows back in the 60s and 70s.
Mhm.
What was the other part of the question?
Music.
Music, always been classic rock.
Yeah.
And then slowly got into country.
Mhm.
And now I listen to other stuff, some jazz and blues and um, bluegrass, stuff like that, but mainly it's classic rock.
Any artists you remember listening to a lot?
The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Steely Dan, and I still listen to them today.
Yeah. Say that sounds like our playlist for Drive Up to Peak and Peak.
Yeah.
Did you ever get seriously injured or sick as a kid?
Fortunately not. I've always had good
Okay.
health. No injuries, no broken bones, and really never was sick much.
Did you have any influential teachers or coaches as a kid?
No. Yeah, I can't say any of the teachers ever inspired me to do better or to do good. It was all family.
Okay. No coaches or anything either.
No.
What were your favorite subjects in high school?
I liked history and math, and probably science. Probably liked English the least.
That's fair.
Yeah, which runs in the family, I think.
Yeah. What did you want to be when you grew up as a child?
Oh, since about ninth grade, I wanted to be a machinist. We had a machine shop in Leechburg. Went to Votech junior and senior year, and then when I got out of school in '82, the economy was bad. Just couldn't find a job in the machine field. But in the end, it all worked out well.
What was in style in your school?
So I remember like elementary school, maybe early junior high, the farmer coveralls
Okay.
were in. That was a big thing, and then the like a locomotive engineer's hat. Yeah, it was a weird
Interesting.
combination,
Okay,
but
yeah,
yeah, I
it's
remember that. But it's like juniors and seniors. I mean, jeans and flannel shirts. I mean,
yeah, it's
no one
just
dressed up.
yeah. Mm, did your relationship change with your family in your teenage years?
I think like everyone else's, they did. Just you're a teenager, you know everything. You're a jackass. So yeah, it would definitely would have been rocky compared to before
Yeah,
and after. I mean, just
childhood.
typical teenage angst.
Yeah. Mm, where did you hang out with your friends? And how did you spend your time together in high school?
Um, when we were younger, we would play football, baseball together. As we got older, and from like say 16 on, we were drinking. We'd hang out at the bus garage a lot. Then we started going to bars at a young age because it let us in. We spent a lot of time there in our youth.
Okay. Besides going to bars as a 17-year-old, what
Yes.
rebellious things did you do as a teenager?
Um, that was probably the biggest thing would be the underage drinking, uh, and probably speeding somewhat. We had a couple fast cars that we had, relatively speaking, and some stupid stuff going up Second Street at 75 miles an hour, going out the bypass at 100 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and old cars.
Yeah.
But mostly would be the underage drinking.
Did you date as a teenager?
Yeah, some, not a whole lot. Never got real serious with
Yeah.
anybody.
Well, it's just a couple months and then
Yeah,
yeah,
our friends were
fizzled out.
pretty tight with our friends and kind of hang out with them most of the time.
Yeah. Do you have a most memorable date as a teenager, positive or negative?
Nothing exceptional,
No.
no. Nothing that I can
Like
remember.
didn't pee your pants or anything
No,
mid-date or
no, nothing like that.
um, did you work as a teenager?
Yes.
What did you do?
Yeah. So again, shoveled snow, cut grass, passed papers, and once we got our driver's license, I worked on at the bus garage, and there's a farmer in Gilpin that I bale hay for, shovel corn, feed, and stuff like that.
Mhm. Okay. I didn't know that about the Gilpin.
Yep. There's a
Wow.
small farm out in Gilpin. Pat and I worked out there.
Oh,
I mean, he paid well. I mean, he paid, so this would have been 80, 81. Minimum wage is probably $3 an hour, and he paid us $5 an hour cash. So,
nice.
yeah. And it's when $5 actually bought you something.
It's almost what I was making 40 years later, a
Yeah.
couple years ago when I was dishwashing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a pretty good gig. It was hard work, but I actually enjoyed working on a
Yeah.
farm. It was enjoyable.
What did you spend your money on?
So, when we had dirt bikes, all the money went to the dirt bikes, and
Yeah.
they're kind of expensive to maintain.
Yeah.
And then once we started
For sure.
driving, money went to that kind of
To the
stuff.
car and gas and
Gas
everything like
and
that.
running around.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about your first car.
So the first car that Pat and I had access to was a 1968 Scout, and it was my Uncle Ike's that we got, and Pat and I fixed it up, and we actually painted it with a brush. It was all different colors. It was black with a gold roof. The back seat was a bus seat.
Okay.
The floor was
Pull up from the bus garage?
from the bus garage, plywood with fake grass, the really fake grass they had back in the
Like the plasticky
yes,
turf?
yes,
Nice.
yes. That was the first vehicle we really had access to. And my first car I bought on my own when I got out of high school was a 82 Volkswagen Rabbit diesel. It was a good car. It was a good ski car. Went well in snow. I had a ski rack for it. And
Okay, nice.
4 people in it, 4 sets of
Yeah.
skis, and we would ski quite a bit.
Make it to Seven Springs.
Oh,
One
yeah.
piece. Nice.
We would go up where it's 3 lanes. Well, it's back then it was the only section. It was 3 lanes, and there'd be 4 of us in the vehicle, skis on top. The back area is full of boots and
Yeah.
jackets, and everything it had was to get 50 miles an hour up the hill as fast as it would go. But we'd get, you know, 48 or 50 miles to gallon.
Oh yeah, those
So,
TDIs
yeah,
were abuse with mileage.
yeah.
I just saw it was mint condition rabbit pickup,
Mhm,
like the caddies, the same Mark One or the 82 to
mhm.
86, gorgeous for sale, and it was like 8 grand though,
Oh,
and I was like,
wow.
oh,
Yeah, I paid
that's expensive.
$2,000 cash for it when I got out of high school.
Yeah,
So and Pa said, "Hey, if you want something else, I'll loan you the money." I'm like, "Nope, this is what I have. This is what I'm going with." And it was front wheel drive, which back then a lot of cars weren't compared to nowadays, where they
yeah,
pretty much all
everything
are.
is. Yeah.
And it was heavy up front, so it did really well in the snow.
Mm,
But the diesel was a pain because it wouldn't start in the winter. You had to plug it in, and
yeah.
the diesels back then weren't that good. But overall, it was a good car for us.
When was your first car accident?
Um, it was with the Volkswagen Rabbit, and Doc Fraley and Mrs. Waggleman pulled out in front of me. They ran a stop sign, and I was going up Second Street. It was on a Sunday after church, and I T-boned them. That was my first accident.
Did the rabbit survive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I had to
still
get
kicking afterward.
stuff done, but it
Yeah,
did. I drove it
just
home.
needed body work and stuff. And
Yep,
it
drove
slowed
it
up.
home, and then I ended up T-boning somebody at a Sears parking lot. I wasn't paying attention, and I hit a guy. Same thing. I drove it home and
Yeah,
ran, fixed up, and good as
that
yep,
doesn't
no
happen
problems.
anymore. No,
No,
I think
no.
car been totaled. First one.
Yeah, it was a really good car. I really liked that car. And it was small, but it would seat 4 people pretty comfortably in
Yeah. Was it a 4 door or 2 door?
it. 2 door.
2 door. Okay. So we both had first cars we bought.
Yeah,
Golfs. Yeah,
Volkswagens. Yeah,
Volkswagen. Do you play sports in high school?
just in junior high, I played a couple of years of football, and that was it. We didn't have a whole lot at Lynchburg. I mean, it was either football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah.
Didn't have much to pick from.
Um, were you involved in any other extracurricular activities, or was it mostly just work?
It's just work. And we'd hunt, would fish,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, mostly worked.
Mm. Who were the most famous celebrities you remember growing up?
It was famous.
Yeah. Who do you remember hearing about?
Clint Eastwood would be really big back then.
Yeah.
Dirty Harry movies. He
Mhm.
was big. Um, yeah, Sean Connery because of the James Bond movie was big.
Okay.
You know, he was a big actor at the time, and still pretty popular even um, recently. Um, but yeah, not you know, I mean, I'd watch shows, but I was not really into them where I knew
Knew the actors, knew all
every
that. Yeah.
actor. Yeah, and never followed an actor like, oh, he's the greatest or anything like that. Wasn't ever a groupie to any actor,
Yeah.
or band member, or anything like that.
Not a deadhead.
No, definitely not a deadhead. No.
Um, what advice would you give a teenager now?
Work hard and don't give up. You know, like I said, I came out of high school with crap jobs, making um, peanuts at these jobs, and just by working hard, taking advantage of overtime and learning stuff. Was able to move up far enough in my career that I make good money and have a pretty comfortable life because of it. Too many people give up too easy.
Yeah. Hear that, Drew?
Yeah.
Um, what's one of your craziest stories from your teenage years?
So me, Pat, Scott, and Paul had, and I think Simon was with us, got Paul's Jeep stuck down a farm and down at the creek. We got it stuck. So then, and of course we were drinking and underage. So we grabbed the beer and we start walking with it, and Pat had it. And someone goes, hide the beer. So Pat just like kind of throws it off to the side of the road. I mean, you could see it plain as day the next day. but we had to go down to the next house. Fortunately, the light was still on because it was late at night, and call our one friend Tom to come pick us up. The next day, we had to go down there, dig the Jeep out, and get it back home.
I'm sure Pa was thrilled that there were
I don't
big
think he knew
ruts
much
in
about
the.
that.
No.
No, and it was tore up from the dirt bikes anyhow.
Oh,
So it
okay.
wasn't.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ruts. That the creek itself wasn't muddy. It's just that from the as you turn there, you had ruts in there,
Yeah.
and the Jeep just stuck in ruts and bottomed out.
Okay. So did you guys just have like dirt bike like trails going all throughout the farm?
Yeah, we had a nice track. So me, Pat, and Randy and Tom built a really good track down through the figure eight, um, and and then it went down to the creek, down about where we hunt, across the bottom of the creek, um, back up over the hill, and then we had a big arch in the main field. Excuse me, and to slow us down as we got faster and faster, we have to slow ourselves down. So we put an S bend in there, and we put some jumps in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of places, and you can't see the jumps now; they all deteriorated. But a lot more jumps just to keep the speed down because we're just able to go too
Fly
fast.
through
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Tell me about the time you got into the most trouble with your parents.
Mm-mm. Nothing really serious, I don't think. With them, I mean, Pa knew we drank underage, and we get speech about it once in a while. And big thing was, don't be drinking and driving was
Yeah.
his big concern. Where Ma did not approve of it at all, and
Oh,
she
I'm
would be
sure. Yeah.
really pissed about it when we'd come home drunk and stuff like that. But generally, we made a rule of come home the next morning. You got up and got out of the house, right away. That way they can't smell the booze, and
Yeah.
we're gone.
Not hungover, not
Yeah,
anything. But
yeah. Yeah, never really got into. Oh no, there was an incident. So Aunt Dot had this horrible dog Willie, and it would bite you when you left the house. And I was over there visiting my grandmother. The preacher's wife came in to visit. When she left the dog, uh, bit at her, like at her ankle.
mm-hmm.
So I gave it a nice proper beating. It was a big fat dog too. And then the next day I put a trap out, like you trap an animal with it, and caught it in the backyard. And I was in school, and Aunt Dot and Grandma were having a fit about that. So I did. Yeah, I got in trouble for that. Grounded, but Pa said something like, "Did you learn your lesson?" I said, "Yeah, I feel bad for Grandma and Aunt Dot getting so upset. That wasn't my intention. But a dog, no, I could care less.
Yeah.
Just a horrible dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it bite at you constantly for no reason. I mean, it wasn't like you antagonized it or anything. It just you walked past it, would bite at you.
Yeah.
Then he's like,
dog.
"Yeah, you're not going to learn your lesson, so just might as well get out of the house.
Yeah.
Just this isn't teaching you anything. Being stuck in your room."
Yeah.
So that was like the worst thing I did. The dog was horrible. It deserved it.
Yeah. What advice would you have given to your teenage self?
Do better in school. Apply yourself some more.
For him.
Yeah. Yeah. We really didn't have any guidance counselors that did us any good as giving us any direction to go in. And I had my mind made up I wanted to be a machinist anyhow. I don't know if it made much of a difference.
Okay. Did you attend any school or training after high school?
Did not.
No. Votech in high school?
Well,
then...
so I went to the Votech 11th and 12th grade.
Okay.
And then just went to work after that.
There are a bunch of college questions in here. Who were your best friends in your early 20s?
Pretty much the same ones. Paul, Tom, Scott, Simon. I mean, it was pretty much the same friends I had in high school.
What are some of the most vivid memories with your friends in your 20s?
Skiing. So me and Pat and buddy Mike Shaley and Tom McCracken would rent a cabin up Seven Springs. We did it for 3 years in a row. And buddies all went up there and we skied and we drank and just carried on. It was awesome.
Back when we still had snow.
Back when we had good snow. Yes. And we were 3 miles from the entrance on Evergreen Hill. So yeah. I mean, you couldn't go home for, well, you could go home for lunch, but that'd be a pain. So we just ate
Yeah,
lunch there.
eat
But
there.
yeah,
Bring food with
which
you, or
yeah,
it
we
probably. I'm guessing Seven Springs food wasn't that expensive back. Oh,
it
wasn't
wasn't
as
bad.
expensive.
So they
Yeah.
had a nice taco bar. So behind
Ooh.
the Foggy Goggle, they had a taco bar, and the cost of the taco was how much it weighed. It depends on
Oh,
how much
okay.
stuff you put in it, but
Yeah.
generally two fairly filled up tacos was enough to hold us over,
Yeah,
and a
for the
beer or
rest of
two.
the.
That was awesome having a place up there. Once we gave it up, I had a season pass and a season locker. It got to the point like skiing's kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, driving all the way out there.
Each
Yeah.
time it's an hour and 10 minutes up, find a parking spot.
Yeah.
We were so close that we could be there first thing in the morning and park down low because no one was there yet.
Yeah.
Get on slopes before everyone else did.
First tracks.
Yeah, it was nice. I was very fortunate we had that. Um, Now, oddly enough, um, each cabin we got a nicer cabin, got it for a longer period of time, and cost more money. But even though I didn't make much money, I always had money for that. I made sure
Yeah, always sets
I
on the
saved
side.
money
Yeah.
for Seven Springs. And then, once you bought your pass and a locker and a cabin, food was really the only expense.
Mm-hmm. Did you have the cabin just through the winter, or would you have it year round?
So the first place was for 3 months, and that was mostly we were 21, so it was party. Second place we had it for 6 months, and the last place, which was the nicest, we had it for a whole year. We had it
Okay.
all year. So we'd go up in the fall, um,
Yeah.
early winter, just goof around and stuff like that. Didn't use it much in the spring or summer,
Mm-hmm.
but early fall on, we were up there quite a bit.
Up through winter. Okay. What was your dating life like in your 20s?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about.
Yeah. Mm.
Good as Drew's in his teens.
Scared of women?
No.
That's what he told us.
Did he say that?
He was joking,
That he
but
was
yeah.
scared of women?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that.
Sorry, Drew. I'll edit that out. All right, here we go. When did you first get engaged?
I would have been, I think, 28 years old when I got engaged.
What year was that?
So
90,
90.
90,
No.
92?
When I got married in, wait, I lost track of it. It's been so long ago. So I'll be 60 this year.
Mhm.
So 31 years ago. So that would make it
93.
93 then.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did your friends and family feel about them?
I don't think my mom was crazy about my wife. Give me a handful at times.
Mm. What was your wedding like?
So it was a small wedding, mostly family, small venue. There was we invited maybe 100 people. Kept it small,
Mhm.
but it was good. It was a nice wedding.
Did you guys have a
Nothing
honeymoon? Did
fancy.
you go on a honeymoon?
Yeah, we went to uh, Niagara Falls.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, we went there in October. And it's nice. I like it up there. I like going up there.
Everyone always told me that I'd go up there and it'd be underwhelming. Like
Yeah.
you'd be like, "Oh, it's big." I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
thought it was really.
And there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of sightseeing you can do. And this is before they even had the casinos and all kind of stuff like they have nowadays. I mean,
it's a
I liked it.
trap at this
Yeah,
point.
now
but
it is. Yeah, back then it wasn't so bad.
that would have been cool to see. Mm. What do you admire most about your current spouse?
I mean, she's just a really good, caring person. Um, Definitely made me a better person being around someone like her. She's caring, giving, and empathy, um, which a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
So she's just a good person to be with.
And how did you guys meet?
So she was friends with Pat's current girl, well, his wife now, but at the time they were dating Barb.
Mhm.
They became friends because their kids played together.
Okay.
So Barb fixed me up with Karina,
Okay.
which oddly enough, um, after Pat got divorced, my ex-wife, at the time was my wife, knew Barb and fixed Pat up with Barb.
Huh.
So I went from my ex-wife to
Barb.
Barb to Karina. It was just, yeah,
That is pretty funny. I didn't know
kind
that.
of weird.
Yeah. Uh, mm, do you remember the day you became an uncle?
So what I remember is,
Your favorite nephew?
yes, Missy, your mom had a T-shirt on or shirt on says you're going to be an uncle or something to that effect. Like kind of had it on, waiting for me to see it.
Yeah.
So that's when
That was
I
it.
found out. We were at Mom and Pa's house for something. So it might have been Christmas. You were born in June,
Mhm.
so she would have been like maybe not quite showing yet,
Yeah.
3 months or something like
Christmas.
that.
Yeah.
So that's it was at Mom and Pa's house when she had a shirt on that says something to the effect of being an uncle. I can't remember what it was exactly, but that's
Mhm.
uh, how I found out.
Mm. What are some of your favorite memories spending time with niece and nephews?
Definitely the skiing part
Yeah.
is the most memorable, and probably the farm the second. But when we would stay at, I would say Peak and Peak, I enjoyed the most staying there. You guys were a lot younger.
Yeah, those first couple trips to Peak and Peak were
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. It's just a good time, and
Yeah.
just even Seven Springs and stuff. It's just enjoyable skiing with you guys,
Yeah.
and just hanging out and doing whatever we do.
It is always a great time.
Yeah.
It was good. Trudging through 3 feet of snow at Peak and Peak to get to the trails.
Cold weather. Yeah,
Yep.
we had some good skiing at Peak and Peak. Had some good conditions.
We did. That was
Early
fun
on,
to
we had some
fly.
good, and they do a nice job with the corduroy in the morning. That was
Yeah,
I would look forward to that. I couldn't wait to get up to ski the corduroy.
because they always groomed it
Yeah,
nicely. It was, yeah.
the Seven Springs lately has been less desirable
Yeah, it's
grooming
been
conditions.
rough.
Yeah, they don't have much to work with, but they could do better.
No, they could actually groom it at least. Them too. Um, do you remember losing any family members in your early 20s, early 30s?
Oh
Like
yeah,
anyone
so
close, anyone you like was a distinct memory of?
because mom and dad were both the babies of the family, all my cousins are older than us.
Yeah.
I got second cousins that I'm closer to age with than I am with my first cousins,
Yeah.
just because of the age difference. So the big one, so I always had aunts and uncles and dad's cousins or mom's cousins passing away. I mean, it was not uncommon since we were little. But the biggest impact would have been when Randy died. Pat and I were 15, and we were really close to him. That would be like the
Mhm.
probably most impactful funeral that I would have went to.
Mhm.
Like I said, as we got older, parents, aunts and uncles were all older.
Yeah.
Not that you makes it any easier, but it's not a surprise when someone in their 80s or 90s passes away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming.
Yeah. Uh, so what did you do in your professional career?
So I worked. I had some, a bunch of different jobs uh, from high school, like 16, and probably about a year after high school, I worked at a gas station, and really had no intentions of getting into the uh, mechanical field to be a mechanic. It wasn't in my plans, and it just Worked at the bus garage, left there, came back, left there again, came back, and finally got a job at what's now Pittsburgh Power, and I've been there for 37 years. And started out in the pump room, building pumps and injectors and turbos and components, and then worked my way out into the shop, and then started rebuilding engines, and then worked my way into the office. And the owner made me vice president about 22 years ago, so I've been doing that since. So, like I said, even though it wasn't what I had planned, it turned out well.
What were some of your proudest professional achievements or accomplishments?
I think becoming vice president of a small company
Yeah.
would be it, professional wise.
Mhm.
Without anything more than a high school education.
Yeah. Um, how did you spend your free time outside of work?
Well, when I was younger, I worked a lot, like 6 days a week, because I made peanuts. And then after that, and started making more money. Like I said, the winters, I'd work all summer, really hard to have be able to ski, and we'd hunt and fish, and we golfed. My buddies and I golfed a fair amount. Now I almost never go. That type of activities. And Em and Uncle Ike had a hunting camp. We'd go up there quite a bit and fish, and do some hunting, and just get up there for the weekend to get away. Just spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff.
Did you have any hobbies? You remember taking like a lot of your time, any like personal like little projects you worked on? Um,
No, not really. I mean, I was into shooting clay pigeons a lot. I bought a reloader and would reload my own shells and go down a farm and shoot. And I spent a lot of time doing that.
mhm.
Like I said, the dirt bikes when we were littler,
Yeah.
and then as I got older, I got a kayak and ended up fishing in it a lot more than I expected. I didn't buy it as a fishing kayak, but the Kiski River is close by, and the fishing was always good there. So did a lot of fishing on the Kiski in a kayak, which is really a lot of fun.
Yeah. Mm. And so you got was the Sportster was your first bike in 2001 besides like the dirt
Yes.
bikes and
Hmm.
everything? Okay.
Hmm.
So you didn't ride in like early um I guess when you had been
The
like early
80s and 90s, I
30s.
didn't
Yeah,
ride
didn't
yet.
okay.
No. I mean, so Uncle Ike had a little Yamaha 250 or something, where I took my test on to get my uh, motorcycle license,
Mhm.
and I had it for years and didn't have a bike. And then Bruce, the owner of the company, and I went out to Vegas for a truck show, and we rented a motor. He had a motorcycle, and I rented a Sportster, and for a couple of days, and I kind of liked it. And I came back, and I was going to get one, and Teresa's like, "Yeah, it's fine." Then later, she said, "No, I don't want you to get one." And then as soon as I signed the divorce papers, like the next week, I literally went and bought one. And I had to
As
wait
soon as you
like
got your birthday present?
yes.
Yeah.
So and back then you had to wait for Harleys. I mean, they didn't have enough on the shelf.
Oh, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
those early
so
2000s, late 90s, they were flying off the shelves
I
for sure.
ordered it like in sometime late February and didn't pick it up till like June by the time it came in.
Wow.
And that was just for a Sportster. If you wanted, like a Road King, it was a year wait.
So were you like were all of them like custom built, like ordered to spec? Like you
So
spec them out, or did you say, "Oh, hey, I want this color," and that's
so
what you got?
I ordered a 1200, and I think I ordered red. And then I called back and said, I think I want a custom, which was the next level up, a lot more chromes already on it, and just a better looking bike, different handlebars. And he said, "You're in luck. I have one coming in. I can change your order." I said, "What color is it?" He goes, "Whatever it is, it is. That's what you get."
Mhm.
Got one coming in. Fortunately, it was black, and
Yeah,
black looks good on a
but
Sportster.
yeah,
I just didn't want white or yellow or something like that.
yeah, one of those.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So, but I had the bike for 20, 22 years.
Yeah, got rid in
Yeah. Fortunately, I
2022.
never dropped it. I never was in an accident with it. So, kind of on borrowed time as far as that's concerned when you have a bike. And then I would rent bikes in Vegas, and we went to Arizona. I went to Utah. um, just all over the place out west with the bike.
Mhm.
I went from
Oh,
Vegas to the
wow.
Grand Canyon on a bike and spent a night
That
in the
had to
Grand
be a
Canyon.
really nice
Yeah, that was a
drive.
nice
That
drive. Yeah,
yeah.
we spent 4 days in Bryce and Zion one time. But you can't carry enough clothes with you. I mean, just
Yeah.
that's the drawback. You're wearing stuff twice, and
Yeah. Smell great.
yeah, it's cold in the morning. It warms up. It gets unbearably hot. As soon as the sun gets down, you're freezing again. You're putting your jacket back on.
Yeah.
The temperature swings are crazy out there. But on the way up to Bryce, which is at like where the hotel was at like 10,000 feet, it looked like rain clouds. So I put my rain gear on. It starts raining and then sleeting, and it was sleeting so hard everything was white. And that was in June.
Really?
And I said to the girl at the hotel, I was checking in, and she goes, "Well, at least it wasn't snow." And I laughed, and she goes, "No, for real. Um, July, I think it's July or August, is the only month they don't get snow that altitude. Now it won't
Yeah.
last,
Yeah, it
you
won't
know.
sit or anything, but
Yeah.
still, like, getting
So the one
white on your
morning,
bike.
it was our last day going to be in Bryce, and we were going to start heading back to Vegas.
Yep.
So I told my boss, I said, "Hey, if you hear the bikes fire up early in the morning, it's just me. No one's stealing it. I'm going to go watch the sunrise over the canyon." And I get it's cold outside, and I blow in the air, and it's all, misty, and like this is cold. So I go back in. I'm like, I'm gonna get dressed and go to the restaurant and get a cup of coffee and see if it warms up. And it was like 33 degrees out in the morning. Like, yeah, I'm gonna wait
In
until.
June.
But by 10 o'clock though, it's 70.
Yeah.
Sun's out and it's already super warm.
Yeah,
So
95 by 2
yeah,
PM. Yeah.
yeah. So I was fortunate with the bikes when we would go on. Um, Out to Vegas is where we'd always rent bikes, and sometimes it was just for a day. Like the one day, Bruce had trailered his bike from Colorado in, and we spent 4 days on a motorcycles. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A
Would you say
completely
so that
different
was
environment out there compared to what we see here.
oh, yeah. It's the views alone. But where'd you say that trip was? 4 days from Colorado to
Well, no, he came in from Colorado. I met him in Bryce, so I flew to
okay,
Vegas, rented a bike, headed up
drove
to
from
Bryce.
okay.
And then, like I said, we were all over Bryce and Zion, and
Yeah.
I'm sure all the places we were at.
Yeah, that's gorgeous in a car.
Yeah,
Imagine when it was
and
on
it
a
was
bike.
nice in a bike. Like I saw longhorn sheep. I saw. Well, this is scary. Is the mule deer in the evening side of the road because they are way
Yeah.
bigger than our deer, and even on an ultra, that bike's small compared to that deer.
Yeah.
It's just not going to fare well for you.
No.
And it gets dark out there. It is pitch black. You're back roads. There's not much traffic at that point. But it was a lot of fun. It was really well. So it was nice because as you would go up in the altitude and temperature to cool off, you get comfortable. You go up into an alpine forest and you can smell the pine. That
Okay.
in a
Yeah.
car you might not notice, and just the different smells of being in the meadows and stuff up in some altitude was pretty cool. It was
That does. That sounds
awesome
incredible.
experience.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start the later life and reflection
Okay.
ones. Um, what's the worst news you've ever received?
Um, Probably when Pa had a stroke. I think would be it.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
oddly enough leaving the I was at a funeral home earlier for a girl at work. Her mom had died a couple of days earlier, and it was the funeral home there. And Sean, a coworker, and I were, I think, stopped at Nazer's, and Koopy called and said, "Hey, you need to come to the house right away. Something's wrong." Probably the worst news, I think.
Was that the second stroke? Whatever you passed away from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember that one. Clear because we were at Megan's soccer game. So it was a Sunday morning.
It was Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were at I think Megan's soccer game, and I wasn't able to go up the day before to visit them, because Megan, Drew, Jack, my dad went up Saturday
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
came
was there
back,
too.
and
So
that's
yeah,
yeah, then that would have been that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was funny because he was perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was one day. It was fine, and then
your dad and I and Paul had a couple beers together, and everything was fine. Don't like any of those.
a bunch of retirement questions.
Oh, yeah, not
We
there
can't
yet.
get you to retire.
No.
What do you do for fun now?
Um, so the skiing, the kayaking, spending time down the farm,
Mm.
spending time with your kids. And I work, and unfortunately, I enjoy what I do,
Yeah,
so that makes a difference. It's not like I have to drag myself to work because I can't stand the place. So
yeah.
that makes it nice to,
Enjoy the place, enjoy the
yeah, where you
people.
enjoy
Yeah,
who I work with, who I work for, and what I do. And then, like I said, I enjoy, you know, I when I had the motorcycle, just jump on and go for a ride. I
yeah.
jump in a kayak, go a little fishing, spend time down a farm, that kind of stuff.
I'll show you the pictures after. I went on a hike it was up in Slippery Rock. There's these two. I think I told you about the one. It was the Wolf Creek Narrows.
No.
Like it's a nature reserve.
Okay.
And then right next to it, that's owned by the state. Um, right next to it is a little section, another nature preserve owned by Slippery Rock. The geology department uses it for like studying. So they have a trail that goes through it. Gorgeous trail. It
Yeah.
was like
Walking, hiking, or
hiking,
bike?
hiking.
Hiking.
Yeah, no bikes on either of them.
Yeah.
Um, but it was probably maybe an eighth of the trail was flooded, just all that rain we
Well,
got.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was. I'll show you the one picture. There was a couple trees that were just submerged, completely underwater, which I'm guessing they weren't a few days ago.
Yeah. What a mess.
But it looped around, and there was a beach right along Wolf Creek.
Oh,
The
yeah.
creek it kind of goes along, and it's maybe like 50 foot, but this little rock beach. I sat there for probably an hour yesterday on my hike and just kind of
Yeah. It'd be nice.
yeah enjoying.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of movies, music, books, shows do you enjoy now? What do you
Music, I
pass
mean,
the time?
still, like I said, the classic rock, the country. So Paul was always in the country, and I absolutely hated the old country, the hee haw country.
Yeah.
And I started getting into country in the 90s. And then, like I said, I would do jazz and blues and
Mm.
soft rock and different stuff there. Movies, right now, when NCIS was on, there was a bunch of those. I was watching those.
Yeah.
Now, the FBI series, I watched that. And then anything like on Smithsonian or the History Channel, I watch that kind of stuff. Don't watch too many movies, so
No, all the shows.
yeah.
Um, what are some of the most important things you've learned in life?
Hmm. Again, going back to just don't give up. I mean, just keep trying. Um, yeah, and tomorrow's a different day. I mean, it always is. So if you have a bad day today, doesn't mean tomorrow's gonna be a bad day either. So let's just keep trying. And I know uh, when you go down a farm and there's a big tree, especially when you guys were little and your dad was too busy running you guys around. He had his hands full with you guys, let alone
Yeah.
work down a farm. And there'd be this big tree down there, and like, where are you starting? Like, just start in the beginning at the top and work your way down and just get it done.
Um, what qualities do you most value in your friends?
Loyalty. We've been friends for so long.
Yeah. Um, is there any other aspects you look for in all of your relationships, like um, try to something that you try and give out that you like to be reciprocated back in friendships, relationships?
Like I said, loyalty would be a big one. And get along, and we just all have something in common.
Mm.
we all none of us are very political, but we all have the same views, which there's no
Yeah,
argument there.
worldviews
Yeah,
often.
yeah, and
Hmm.
similar likes and dislikes. I mean, we all
Yeah.
golf together, we all ski together, we all fish together, and we go shooting together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of common interests
Mm.
that are the same.
What is the most important thing you learned from your mother?
Hmm. No, I would say I definitely learned more from my dad. I mean, just being a guy, I was closer to my dad
Yeah,
growing up than my mom.
that was the
And she was
second part of my
always
question.
so, mom was always so quiet.
Mm.
She really never said much of anything. But I mean, she was by the book, worked hard, get work done first,
Mm.
that type of stuff. More of a down to business type of
Yeah.
person than what Pa was.
What do you think the most important thing you learned from Paul was?
Hard work would be it. I mean, just
Mm.
he always worked hard. He didn't turn overtime down at the mill. Um, Even when it came to the point where he didn't need it, he still didn't turn down.
Mhm.
I think hard work it pays off. The more you put in, the more you get out.
Yeah. Who is the wisest person you've ever known?
I would say Pa. He's
I would agree.
pretty street smart.
Yeah. He always had some nugget of wisdom or an awful joke to
Yeah,
share.
yeah, yeah. Unlike he I don't know how well he did in school. I don't think he cared how well he did in school. He lost his dad young, um, but he had good street smarts,
Yeah. I think he
common
was
sense.
focused on supporting his family and doing what he could. What have you changed your mind on over the years?
Oh boy. I
Besides
mean,
country music.
yeah. I mean, a lot of things I look at differently now than I did 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. But
Mhm.
nothing. Um, I don't think I've changed a whole lot in my views or thoughts or anything like that. Pretty similar now. I
Yeah.
mean, other than at 18, you don't know anything. You
Yeah.
think you do. You don't have the experience you have now, but
Anything from 30 to now?
I don't think so. I don't think any real changes. No.
What advice do you have for your nieces and nephews about growing up in this world?
Stick together. I mean, it's just easier to get through the tough times when your family around.
What uh what have you found that immediately, like say you're having a bad day,
Mhm.
immediately turns your mood around? Something that's just a switch.
I know, like this morning, I woke up and the sun was out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, today's gonna be a good day. Especially after all that rain and
Yeah.
dreary weather.
That was nice.
Um, it was
Cold.
nice, yeah, and cold and damp and windy, and I mean, a nice day like that makes a difference, even if it's cold outside and it's sunny.
Yeah.
I seem to feel better.
The sun out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
As I got in my car this morning, it was hot in there.
Inside,
Yeah.
yeah.
What life advice would you give to someone my age?
Enjoy life, work hard. Um, save for tomorrow. There is always going to be a tomorrow. I know people live day by day. And like, okay, I have to have this vacation because so and so went, and it doesn't really matter what someone else did.
Yeah.
Too many people I think worry about, well, so and so went here for a week. I'm going to go here for 2 weeks, or I'm going to eat at this restaurant instead of that restaurant because so and so eats there. And I think too many people worry about what everyone else is doing, not what.
Do it you enjoy.
Yeah, what makes them happy.
Focus on, yeah, instead of trying to impress others.
I would I don't know about, I don't know, 7 8 years ago. We're busy at work. Mondays and Fridays are busiest, and my boss says I'd rather not take Mondays and Fridays off. Which at the time was kind of like, oh, this sucks. It's bullshit. I 3 day weekends are nice.
Mhm.
I started taking Wednesdays off, late summer, early fall, and I would work maybe 4 day weeks in a row.
Mhm.
But it was just I would like, okay, it's gonna be a good day. I'd get the kayak loaded up and fishing gear loaded up the night before, and get into Kiski River, and there's still fog on it, and it was like the best. I mean, just peaceful. It was quiet.
Thoroughly be alone with
Yeah,
nature.
yeah. Or I would jump on the motorcycle and like, okay, I'm gonna head up north and head up towards camp just for a ride.
Yeah.
Couple hours up, couple hours back, and yeah, the peacefulness of that was always nice.
The Uncle Ike's camp.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it Allegheny National Forest, like that
It was
area?
beside it. Yeah, it was
Beside
near
it?
Kane.
Okay.
It was near Kane. It's in I don't know what they consider that. It's outside of Kane, which is a small town. I'm not sure what they consider that area where they're at, but it kind of it bordered the forest.
Okay.
The rundown camp,
Yeah.
but it was still fun to go to.
Yeah. Did you spend a lot of time there?
And we
in
dirt
your
bike
childhood?
ride up there a lot when we were younger. We did a lot of fishing up there. We would hunt up there.
Mhm.
Yeah, we spent a fair amount of time up there. That's where I first got served at the Highlands Hotel. Me, Pat, and our buddy Ricky um, went up to the hotel, like 17, and ordered a beer, and the bartender handed to us. It was
I
awesome.
thought you meant like a lawsuit, like someone served
Oh,
you, like
yeah. No, they served us a beer.
I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Troopers catch you riding dirt bikes around the national forest. What do you want your legacy to be?
I think just to be known as a good person, someone that helped people out, trustworthy, would be probably most important. A good son,
Yeah,
good brother, good uncle, be important.
you filled all this. Um, has religion or spirituality played a part in your life?
Not much. Um, Compared to my mom and dad, who were both very devout.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I went to church and Sunday school younger, and then Corrine and I would attend some services when we were together. But yeah, it's not a big factor like it was with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe,
Your childhood. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm not that devout of a Christian.
Yeah. The values still resonated with you. They
Yes.
played a big part in forming who you are. What are some mottos you live by?
So the one I think that actually fits me the best is the key to success is confidence. The key to confidence is preparation. And I found that, through, especially at work and when I travel for work. So, besides traveling to truck shows, which you got to bring everything you need with you,
Yeah.
I used to have to do road work where I'd actually go out on the road and work on a truck that was broke down. And you got to have everything you need. So you got to think ahead, like, okay, what am I going to need? What if it's not this? What if it's that? Bring all your tools, and there's no one else to rely on. So you always want to be prepared
Yeah.
for it, and it made it a lot easier when you're prepared, not going off half cocked and stuff.
How often were you like an on the road mechanic?
So there's two things that we did. One would be breakdowns, which wasn't too frequent, which were horrible because you literally were on side of 279 or
Yeah,
79,
I-80 or something.
yeah, some highway, and the guys weren't slowing down. And those was usually a simpler job. It'd be a water pump, a fuel pump, a turbo, something that's not too major that you weren't too deep into it. But the other facet was I would drive to a customer's shop and uh, do machine work on the block and then put liners in for them, put cam bushings in, time engines for them, some diagnostics. They had some problems. I was
You did that all in their shop.
in their shop or a barn or a field.
Yeah.
I had to go to a strip mine in November. It's snowing. The loader quit work. I mean, I don't know why they didn't tow it someplace. I mean, they have other equipment.
Yeah.
Literally in the middle of the strip mine, it quit working, and they pulled the heads off of it, and they stripped a bunch of bolt holes out of it. So I had to put bolt hole repairs in, which are really a pain when there's liners already in there.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's November. It's spitting snow. I needed air, so there's another loader close by that would make the air that I needed. But then again, I would smell diesel half the time, depending on how the wind blew and constant engine running and stuff like that. So road jobs were tough.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of them, but I was, go to a place in the middle of nowhere. Some shops were actually, some people had shops that were nicer than the shop I worked in, and some of them, and most of them were really nice people. Like the wife's like, "Oh, I made cinnamon rolls and bring me coffee down." They were good people. Some places, again, grass 3 feet high, and you're backed up against the barn, and just conditions weren't ideal, weather-wise. Or went to West Virginia, had long underwear on, my work clothes, and coveralls. And I don't think the shop ever made it to 50 degrees that day. That's how cold it was. So some of the road work was tough. It really was. And again, you had no one. I couldn't stop and say, "Hey, Gary," who was my boss at work at one time, and really knowledgeable. What do you think? Am I doing this right? I got a problem. It's nice to have someone's input in it. You were on your own. I mean, you made a decision right or wrong. So, but again, you learn a lot from that stuff. You learn to be prepared. When I'd go to the shows, I never forgot anything because I had a list of personal stuff I need to take, and then a list for what needed to be in the trailer and what needed to be done to the truck beforehand and so forth. I always was pretty organized. And Mom was organized like that. She always had a list for stuff. Even going down a farm for the picnics after,
always a list.
900 picnics, she still had would take a list down and check stuff off. I mean, by then she should have known exactly what she needed. I'm sure she did. So doing stuff like I said, I like what I did. I like being a mechanic. But I wasn't a fan of the road work.
Yeah,
it was rough.
Some good stories, but not a. What is a dream you've let go of?
A dream. Probably having a place at Seven Springs.
Yeah.
Be it. I've always wanted to have a place there.
Ski in, ski out.
Well,
that's my mom's dream.
That's your mom's dream. I can deal without the ski and ski out. I'm fine with that. So right when I was, she didn't know I was getting divorced yet, but I was planning on getting divorced. Amy at work found a place, and it would be past. If you're going to Seven Springs, instead of turning off to the entrance, you went past that a couple miles, and it was like a 2 or 3 bedroom, basically a camp. But it had running water, sewage. It had an outbuilding, and it was very affordable at the time, and I had the money for it. My concern is it's going to complicate things in divorce if it doesn't come up. Now, what I should have done was gave Paul the money and had him put it in his name.
Yeah.
And then, made payments to him, and he could make the payments. And then once I got divorced, then he could put it back in my name. That's what I should have done. There was maybe an acre or so there. So, it would have been a really nice place to have.
Yeah.
And it was enough land that you could have always added on another room or two.
Yeah. Another like cabin on there too.
Yeah.
Something like that. Oh.
Yeah. And the price of the when you're at the Seven Springs, is the HOA fees are killers a lot of times too. So like, okay, I could probably afford this, especially if I rent it out a little bit. But then when you look at the HOA fees,
they're crazy.
Sometimes they're higher than a house payment.
Yeah.
That's like, you really got to have some money for that.
what are some things on your bucket list that you have yet to cross off?
So, fortunately, I mean, I've done a lot of things. I mean, I wish I would have traveled a little more than what I did. Like international traveling, I didn't travel as much as I wish I would have traveled. But as far as doing stuff, I mean, I was fortunate that if I wanted to do something, we just did it. So I don't really have anything that I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'd like to have gone over to Slovakia and
Mm.
see the family over there, but other than that, yeah, no regrets.
Yeah. What are your most treasured possessions?
Hmm. So yeah, as far as um, something tangible, I mean, I don't really like this is the greatest thing to have.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, the family aspect of things,
Yeah.
which is it's not the house, it's not a new car. I mean, I bought the new Bronco last year, which was, hey, this is nice, and it's only the second new vehicle I've ever owned.
Hmm.
It's pretty well loaded up, and I was excited about it. But it's not like, oh, this is the greatest thing. It's just changed my life.
Yeah. Any like
Material stuff like that doesn't really um, like. Okay, hey, I'm set now. I got what I
yeah,
want. I'm not that way.
any sort of like trinket or family heirloom or something like that you can think of, something like on a smaller scale of just something that means like has personal value to you.
So I have Grandpa Mazak's certificate of citizenship.
Mm.
So when we were cleaning out, um,
Uncle Paul's house.
no, so well, cleaning out mom and dad's house, mom and pa's house, it was in a box with stuff from Uncle Paul's house. Now, oddly enough, it was also in there with like bills Uncle Paul had from 8 years ago, which should have been thrown out. But as I'm
Yeah.
rummaging through it, I found that, and I had that in my office at work. That's kind of neat to have.
Yeah, that's a good one. What is something that always brings you joy?
Spending time with you guys,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Anytime you
always
get to
been
go
good.
to the farm
What,
or
oh,
skiing or anything like that, or even just stopping over for dinner.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where it's at. Even like sometimes after treatments, I just stay at the house was nice.
Yeah.
Um, so, so I drove myself to treatment, and then I drove to your house and crashed for a little bit, and then Drew came home, and he's like, "You hungry?" Because I'm hungry. I'm like, "Yeah," because I'll start dinner. So it was nice. Just him and I had dinner together, which is
That was nice.
just
And yeah, sometimes just you two.
yeah. And Joe goes, "Did he talk?" I'm like, "Yeah, he probably didn't have a choice because I was the only one there." But yeah, so I mean, it's nice when we do it as a group. It's also nice when we I can a little more one-on-one time.
Yeah,
It's always nice too.
absolutely. Um, if you had a weekend free and money was no object, perfect health, what would you do?
Um, yeah, I guess it would depend on the weather. During ski season, I'd be skiing with you guys. If it's nice out, maybe going on a hike or take the kayaks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I do. We didn't get a chance to do last year. Hopefully, we can do this year. Is kayak down the Kiski.
Yeah.
We canoed it years ago. I think I had my kayak, but you got no.
I
I was
wasn't
with
there for it, I don't think.
I don't think you
It
were.
was the
I was with
kids. Yeah.
one of the boys in canoes. We rented
Yeah.
canoes. This is before you guys had kayaks.
We'll get Drew in there with you.
Um,
He'll paddle you around. You can just relax, fish.
Heck yeah, that'd be nice. That would be nice. Um, yeah, I would. We're fortunate. I'm fortunate that Kiski is that close to me, and like I said, the good fishing is 20 minutes away, and there's just so many different spots to drop in at. What I wanted to do was so the Lower Hannah and the Conemaugh form the Kiski, and the Conemaugh Dam. If you go up to the dam and put in just below the dam, I mean there's just nothing around. I mean you're isolated. I mean it's like you're out in the boonies. There's just no houses, no industry. As you come down this way and you get closer to Apollo, North Apollo, Vandrift, you're getting into
Yeah.
the roads and road noise and industry and stuff like
The
that. But up there,
overpasses and bridges and everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's just nothing around.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that this summer.
Yeah. We'll get a good trip in.
Yeah,
Take all of our kayaks down.
yeah, yeah. Now with all this rain, it's gonna take a while. The Conemaugh,
It has to be up high.
oh, it is. And it's actually gonna be worse because, and I remember it's the Conemaugh Dam or the Lower Hannah, but it's been the
The
first time in a
Livingstone
long
one.
time. It's coming out of the gates up on top.
Okay.
That's how high it is.
Yeah. So the river has to be up
Yeah.
real high.
So
Yeah.
the Conemaugh, I think it is, forms in Johnstown, and the Little Hannah is just a little creek that they backed up. And there's only like from the dam to the Kiski 3 or 4 miles.
Mhm.
They have a nice lake area to fish and ski and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You take motorboats and stuff on. It's a nice little area. But I prefer fishing the Kiski.
Yeah.
I do well there. I just like it there.
It's close.
And it's close.
What career advice would you give someone my age?
So I think one would be flexible. Things don't go as planned, and that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's okay to change. You might think, hey, this is the greatest thing, and I really like doing it, and you hate it. There's no use staying there.
Yeah.
Move on to something else. Again, work hard, show up every day, do more than what's expected.
Yeah.
So the guys at work who's done well and have come up in management positions all do that. They do more than what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
In none of this, it's not my job type of thing, or I'm not doing that. They
Yeah.
just do it. And I mean, that's the way it is nowadays. Yeah, I mean, if you're content, like, so Uncle Pat's done well where he's at. He makes good money. Uh, Same job for 40 years. But I mean, he puts his 8 hours in. You get 8 hours of him, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything more, but he's content with that. So
Yeah,
that's
what
fine
matters.
too.
If that's
Yeah,
how
what
you
you want.
enjoy.
Yeah.
What is your superpower?
I think being organized. I am pretty organized with stuff. It makes things
Pretty
easy.
impressive one. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of chaos and
Yeah. I think being organized is really important. Just whether it's at work or home life, or even like when I worked at the shop, and every evening I put my tools away so I knew where everything was at. I knew if something was missing. You start the next day and the tools are where they're supposed to be. You're not hunting them down.
Yeah.
And I think being organized is really important and overlooked.
Yeah.
I think people go through like chaos when they don't need to.
I know that's something I'm trying to work on, is being more organized.
Yeah.
But then I walk into every single one of my professors' offices are crap everywhere. It's piles of papers and books, and it's the chaos.
Yeah.
But they know where everything is. They're able to track it down. It's their organized chaos.
It's something I do is like being organized at the truck shows. I write down the date the show is, the date I got the room, how many rooms I got, where it's at. But I also will detail, we took X amount of books or booklets and gave away so many, took so many shows, not so much nowadays like we did years ago, but Bruce and I would be the only two doing the shows, and we would take parts and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
To help offset the cost of the show.
Yeah.
But I always kept track of that stuff. So if someone says, well, I need to bring 100 bottles of max mileage, I'd say, well, no, because the last year we sold 75, and the year before that we sold 85. So we now have a reference of what we need to bring, and not just randomly bring either way too much, which you're bringing back, or you're selling it at a discount just to get rid of it, which I always tried to do, or you'd run out.
Yeah.
So you got to find that fine line, but by keeping notes in there of all the shows, and really, if you could say, hey, 2010 at Walcott, how many mufflers did you bring? I could tell you what I brought, what we sold.
Yeah. The level of organization I aspire to. I got some work to do.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice on choosing a career?
Well, like I said, mine didn't go as planned. And you got to do something you really enjoy doing, and don't do it for the money.
Mm,
Now, in the same note, also don't go to college with some stupid um, classes that aren't going to make you any money. That
yeah,
doesn't pay well, and the job field isn't good, and people go in for psychology all the time, and you make crap money. Social
yeah,
workers make no money. You're underappreciated, and you've got a college degree. I mean, you have to kind of look into the field that's going to be. I mean, one, you have to like it. I mean, um, you're not going to be a good mechanical engineer if you hate it.
yeah.
So you have to like that field.
Yeah. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
So a couple of things. So like when the lotteries are real big and they're crazy money, and I figure if I'd won myself for a $500 million, some insane amount of money,
Mhm.
I think first thing would be they have a ship that you buy a room on. Anything from like basically a little studio apartment up to a 3 bedroom, you know,
Yeah,
crazy
full
1,700 square foot,
apartment.
bigger than my
Yeah,
house apartment, and you literally sail around the world. It doesn't stop. I mean, you stop at different ports and stuff like that. And obviously, these people that have a lot of money, they might say, "Hey, road to Spain is beautiful. I'm going to spend a month here. I'll catch up with you guys. Where are you going to be at in a month?" And then they'll fly to the
fly
boat.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I think one would be just to do that for a year, just to see a lot.
yeah,
Um, but as far as vacations, I would definitely go back to Scotland. I'd like to go to Switzerland in the wintertime for skiing,
yeah,
Austria or Switzerland or something like that, the Alps,
yeah.
to
I
ski
like
the
the
Alps.
Alps. Yeah,
I think that'd be,
Slovakia too.
yeah, would be something to see.
The next question is, if you won $1 million, how would you spend it? So I think you,
A million?
yeah, a million. I guess not 500 million.
Well, so million, that would be okay. At that point, you have enough money to spend, four or five $100,000 on a place at Seven Springs, and enough money to help pay the HMO fees if you don't rent it out
Yeah,
much.
all the
So it
property
would
tax and
be,
everything for
yeah, something like that.
a couple years.
It'd just be enjoyable, just on a like it's time to get away. I'm go up there for the weekend.
Yeah,
Whether I do anything or not doesn't matter. Take the
go
mountain
up.
bike
Yeah,
up there, or you know, do whatever. That would be, if again, depending on the amount of money. But even if I won like the 500 million, I'd still probably buy a place at Seven Springs, because it's not going to do any good to have a place out west when you guys are off different times for schools and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like, who's going to be out there with me? I'll be
We're
by
not gonna be able to
myself.
go up there. Yeah,
So
all
that makes
together.
no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the best news you've ever received?
Best news. Hmm. I guess probably being an uncle, I think. Unfortunately, Trish and I weren't able to have any kids ourselves. Not that we didn't want them, we just weren't able to have any. So that's filled the void.
Yeah, we did a decent job. We tried our best.
Yeah.
Um, what part of your life would you go back to relive, and why?
So I would say early 20s. Like I said, we had the cabin at Seven Springs. Just ran around a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
very little responsibility. I mean, you didn't have cell phones. So your cost of living was pretty cheap. I still lived at home. Um, Even though I didn't make anything, I always seemed to have money in my pocket to do stuff. Like I said, the one year, me and Pat and Tom and Paul, like on a Wednesday, like, hey, let's go to Ocean City. And like Friday morning, we left for Ocean City.
yeah.
Just no plans. I don't even think we had a map to even get there. I mean, just completely no reservations, nothing.
Start
Just
driving and
picked
see what
up and
happens. Yep.
we just picked up and took off. And sometimes that spontaneous type of thing is fun.
Yeah.
If people get wrapped up in planning stuff, and I need to stay here, I need to stay. We stayed in a place that the bathroom was so small, the sink was in with the bedrooms. I mean, basically, you had 2 beds. I mean, it was tiny. We were like, and we, I think it was a holiday weekend, and we did this over, which made it worse. And we were lucky. We were on the boardwalk in an alley talking, and I had a DV shirt on, and the lady goes, "You guys from Pittsburgh?" I'm like, "Yeah, me too. Where are you from?" Start talking. She says, "Well, what are you guys here for?" I said, "We're looking for a room." She said, "I got one left." I said, "It had two double beds, so we just
Yeah,
doubled up." I mean,
works.
but it was just fun. It was spontaneous, and again, um, Tom wasn't 21 yet. He was like a month away from being 21. Me, Pat, and Paul were. But we drank and just hung out on the beach and just goofed around. So it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Um, how is today's society different from when you were a child?
I think a lot more people are worried about what they have and someone else has. And
Yeah.
so, fortunately, growing up in Lynchburg, a small mill town, most people worked in the mill. There wasn't a big difference in income. There wasn't super rich people and super poor people. It was pretty much middle class. I mean, you
Yeah.
had some poor people. You had some, better off than others, but generally grew up in the same income tax bracket.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that competition of. I know one of the guys at work. He has 4 kids. He worked hard, but the kids had like just plain old tennis shoes on, and the other kids were making fun of them because they weren't a certain type of Nike shoe that they
Yeah.
wore. We didn't have that growing up.
Yeah.
It's a shame kid has to go through something like that
Yeah.
just because it wasn't like his
They
shoes were
spend
falling
two hundred
apart. They
dollars
just
on
weren't. Yeah,
shoes. Yeah.
his dad, like I said, worked 2 jobs and um, a good guy, a hard worker, but he wasn't buying his kid $200 pair of shoes.
Yeah.
So
Really.
yeah,
Um, what is the most embarrassing thing you've ever done?
most embarrassing thing. Hmm. There's been probably 100 little things, but I don't think anything terribly embarrassing. And fortunately, growing up, there was no cell cameras, cell phones,
Yeah.
and cameras on them. People and like my buddies, we just didn't carry a camera with us, so anything that we did that might have been stupid, we can just deny.
Yeah.
There's
Never
no
happened.
proof. It's not
Yeah.
on Facebook. It's not on a TikTok video. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I'm so fortunate and so glad I grew up when I did.
Yeah. Everything's recorded
Yeah.
now. Can't get away with anything.
And you can say something and they take one clip of it and makes you sound like you're the bad guy.
Yeah. What is your most precious memory?
Precious memory. It goes back to probably going to Erie as a family. Like I said, we have all those cabins, and it was pretty cool. You pulled into the back of the cabins. There's a playground there and a big flat area up on top, and they had picnic tables. We'd eat out, go down steps, and then cross the a road, and then we had that whole beach. So the only people that were allowed on that beach is the people that rented the cabins.
Okay. You guys
I would
had
say, I
private
mean,
beach?
yeah, it was a private beach then, yeah. So I mean, I know a lot of people were going to the ocean and stuff like that, and crazy vacations, and
Yeah.
it was a little bungalow. There was a screened-in porch, uh, dining room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. That was and they were all the same.
Yeah.
And we just piled people in there, and like I said, we seldom ever went out to eat. Everything was just usually made there, but
Yeah.
I know we'd have and they take turns cooking the different parents. But excuse me, we'd be on the picnic tables eating pasta or whatever,
Yeah.
hamburgers, hot dogs. Um, excuse me, it'd be like a 5-day picnic down a farm.
Yeah. Yeah. That does sound like a great time.
And we would go to so before you went to Presque was a big slide that you put like these rugs down that you'd slide down on. It was really high. We would go there at least, excuse me, once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go through a drive-in, at night just to break things up.
Yeah.
Basically, just hanging out at the beach, and we were there from morning to night. And there was no swimming pool or anything like that. We stayed at the beach.
That sounds like a really good trip.
It was. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It was simple,
Yeah.
nothing
Best kind of
extravagant,
trips
but
is
yeah.
yeah. Being able to go spend time with family, spend time in nature.
Yeah.
What is the best thing someone has ever done for you?
Hmm. I guess, and I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm very fortunate for a lot of reasons. I think one of it would be um, professionally that Bruce gave me the chance to move up in the company.
Yeah.
So like I said, went from the pump room to the shop, and then on weekends we were open 8 to noon, and I'm like, hey, so and so wants off. I'll work in a parts room just to learn parts,
Yeah.
just to learn another aspect of stuff. And I was fortunate that I was able to, maneuver in such a small company too. It's not like there's 500 people in a company.
Yeah.
He was president. Well, Gary was president, and he was CEO, and then I was vice president. And then when Gary retired, Bruce took over president and CEO, and I was vice president. So, I mean, as a accomplishment, I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. What is the bravest thing you've ever done?
I don't. I never saved anyone's life or anything. Run into a burning building, but I think skydiving. I was in
Yep.
Vegas right after my divorce, and it wasn't like I was distraught. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try something new. Um, I was happy to get divorced, but went out, and I was late getting there, and you could jump from 10,000 feet or 10,000 or 15,000 feet. And the guy said, hey, the plane just went up. Do you want to go up with this other group? The only difference is they're going up to 15,000 feet, which gives you another 60 seconds of free fall time, and whatever, some options there.
Yeah.
And it literally was like $25 more. Like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's good. So that was not as scary as you think it is. So you're standing at the door of the plane, and you're 15,000 feet. You don't have the sense of height at that point.
Yeah.
So stepping off the plane was no big deal. Where it got scary was, we're free falling, and it was awesome. And they pull a chute, and then as you get closer and you realize, okay, I'm really high. And if something happens here,
Yeah. All I have is
yeah,
a parachute above me.
yeah. So that then it got, that got a little bit scary at that point, but that was pretty exciting, and I don't like heights to begin with.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get over my fear of heights, which didn't help that. But I mean, I rock climbed, and then we did those things at Seven Springs. We all went up there for that. We climbed those different walls, and they had that.
Yeah.
What was it? The Alpine Tower. Climbed that.
Yep.
And then we did the ropes at Peak and Peak.
Yeah. The rope course there.
Yeah.
Did you ever do the Go Ape at North Park with us?
Mm-mm. No.
There's some fun ones. There's one that's you're up high, like in a tree, and there's just maybe 50 feet away from you, between a bunch of other trees, a big net,
Mm-hmm.
just vertically, and you hook on and jump across, and you're just swinging down, and you have to grab onto the net.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It'd
You
be
should have heard
fun.
Megan scream.
I bet. And actually, I did some rock climbing, which was fun and repelling.
Yeah.
Again, trying to get over my fear of heights, but that doesn't change anything. You're still scared when you're up there.
No. The skydiving is something I want to try.
Yeah. So they do a lot of that in Slippery Rock area, I think.
Yeah, there's up in Grove City, they
Mhm.
have there's some business that they run skydiving out of up there.
So when you tandem dive, I mean, there's a ton of paperwork. You just sign your name, sign your name, sign your name. Basically, no matter what happens, you're not going to sue them.
Yeah.
But then you could also train to do your own dive.
Yeah.
But it was years ago I looked into it, and it was, I don't know how many weekends, like 4 hours Saturday for I don't know how many weekends. It was a lot.
I'm sure it was expensive too. Like it added up.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm not that into it to
No.
spend that kind of time.
What is the most significant loss you've experienced?
Losing my dad, hands down. Even though he was up there in age, and you know it's going to happen at some point. It's still So tough.
Yeah. Still blindsides you.
Yeah.
What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you?
Scariest thing. Um, Fortunately, I've been in a few fender benders, nothing major as far as bad wrecks go. Um, Probably a couple close calls on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was heading, went past Aunt Marge's house, went past Giant Eagle, and there's some houses off to the left, and this guy shut out his driveway. I don't know how he missed me, T-boning me. And I would have lost my leg at that point. I mean, he
Yeah.
was that close to it. That was probably like the, scariest thing I've gone through. Because again, there's no fender benders on a bike.
No.
That was scary.
What is the hardest thing you've ever been through?
Probably the loss of my dad would be it. I mean, I've had, again, a lot of relatives pass away and stuff like that, which is always sad.
Yeah.
Got divorced. It sucks, but again, not horrible. Well, it wasn't for me anyhow. Some people they take it that it
Yeah.
is. But fortunately, I would say it would be lose my dad.
Yeah. I know earlier you said no regrets, but what is one regret you have in life?
So, not having kids. Like I said, we just weren't able to. We wanted to have them. We weren't able to. I mean, it'd be like the only thing I would change if I could change is have kids.
Did you ever think about like adopting later on?
We actually tried, and it fell through. We had two
Wow.
of them fall through. So mothers end up keeping the babies. It was private adoption. I mean, you go through the church, it's 20 grand.
Yeah.
Chinese babies are 20 grand. Russian babies are just crazy. I didn't want to go that route.
Yeah.
But what's ironic is, if the Catholic Church is involved, it costs me 20 grand. But if there's a young girl that wants to give her a baby and I'm going to help her out with her rent or something like that, it's illegal. Like you're buying a baby, then you can't do that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Really strict with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What advice would you have given your past self?
I think, again, it's hard to say because I've done well, fortunately. But again, pay attention more in school.
Yeah.
And try a little harder there, learn a little bit more, maybe not. In a sense, I would like to have gone to college just to round me out further and the college experience.
Yeah.
But again, I make more money than a lot of people with college degrees.
Yeah.
So would have done me any good going to college?
Yeah. That's just for the experience.
Yeah.
What makes you feel the most alive?
Probably skiing.
Yeah.
We go down the hill, and especially when it's not crowded, and you can take those nice big turns and just coasting down there. You're not going, terribly fast, but it's just the freedom.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like being on a motorcycle.
I have 3 questions from the list I made that I don't think we've covered in the rest of them.
Okay.
First one, was there ever a prank or practical joke you participated in that you're just really proud of?
No. Not really. Now, one thing we did, we would scare each other. So that started with Randy and Scott, my older cousins. They would always try to scare us. And that led on to, we played a game. Me and Pat would hide from Randy and Tom at the bus garage, shut off all the lights, and they'd have to try to find us. And, we'd be sitting in like a bus, and as soon as they walked past it, you'd see their shadow because it's dark out, lay on a horn, turn the lights on, and they'd get scared and get pissed and then, throw us around and stuff like that. But and we still did that. Even Scott, that was just called on the phone, he was home for the summer. I would go home for lunch. He'd come down while I was gone and park his car someplace so I didn't see it. and hide and wait for me to go past that bus just to scare me. So we did a lot of that, scaring each other, jumping out from
Yeah.
places and when you don't expect it.
Yeah.
And that was, I didn't really do any pranks or anything like that, but that was a big thing of us always trying to scare each other. That was always fun.
Um, the next one, how did you cope with your own mortality?
Um, I mean, I kind of accepted it pretty quick. Like, I can't change it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can to take care of myself. Hopefully, the treatments work, and, again, just accept what you can't. Change what you can, accept what you can't.
Yeah.
I've just accepted it. And then I've been lucky. Um, Friends, family, even coworkers have made it a lot easier for me. Coworkers bring stuff in for me to eat,
Yeah.
or share something they had extra, something in their lunch.
Food, yeah.
Come in my office, hey, how you feeling? You okay? Do you need anything?
Yeah.
Sometimes I would just have my head down because I'm tired and like, are you okay? Can I get you something? And that makes a difference. People do that, and of course, your dad's and mom's done so much for me. Again, it makes it easier when they can pick me up. Sharon Sanderson, I have blood work to go on Monday, and Sharon Sandy going to take me down. So I don't have to worry about driving down.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just too much. So fortunately, I have a good
support system.
Yes.
Good. Yeah.
A very good support system.
Last one. Is there anything you wanted to share with me that you never
I'm a pretty open book. Yeah, I don't have anything that, like, oh, did you know this or that or anything like that. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty open with everything. Even like with the treatment, my coworkers, hey, my numbers are up, my numbers are down, I feel good.
Yeah.
I just keep everyone open, posted, and nobody's hiding it.
Yeah.
I know people that, my one friend's wife had it, and he was very quiet about it.
Yeah.
Instead of being open about it for whatever reason. But I find it easier just to be open and everyone knows and what's going on.
Yeah. All right. That's everything I have. My questions. Is there anything else you want to put in? Anything you want to add?
No, like I said, it's hard to say I'm thankful with stage 4 cancer, but um, you know, um, I'm sure I had a better childhood than most people. Just mom and dad both worked, so never went without anything. Not that we were rich or anything like that, but never went without anything. Close family makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So again, good friends. So I wouldn't change anything. Other than, like I said, not having kids, I probably wouldn't change anything in my life.
All set.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this. I
You're welcome,
appreciate
buddy.
it. I know it's
It's fine. Thank you.
I do really appreciate it. This is something that I enjoy hearing.
Yeah. I'm gonna have down the road look at it. Too bad you didn't have that years ago when Paul was alive still.